Hello guys, welcome to another video. Today I'm gonna teach you how rooks move on the chessboard. As I'm showing on this board, rooks can only move on the straight lines. So this rook can move on this file and on this rank. So this rook can go forward, backward and sideways. So as I'm showing on the board, this rook can move to these 14 squares. So in next move, this rook can go to any of these squares. For example, D1, or he can go to any of these squares, for example, H5, or for example he can go to A5, and finally he can go to any of these squares, for example D8. As you can see on this board, this rook can go to any of the squares I'm showing with green arrows. For example, it can take this bishop, but rook cannot jump the bishop and never can go to this square in next move. For example, in next move it can take the bishop. As you can see on this board, this rook can go to any of the squares I'm showing with green arrows. So in chess, never we can take our own pieces. So this rook can only go to this square, and it cannot take our own piece. So this rook cannot go to this square. So in next move, this rook can go just only to this square. As you can see on this board, this rook in just one move cannot go to D7 square. So at least we need two moves to go to this square. One possible way is rook D1 and then rook D7. Another way is rook A7 and rook D7. So at least we need two moves to reach to D7 square, as I'm showing you on the board. So this rook can go to D1 and then can go to D7, or it can go to A7 and then it can go to D7. As you can see on this board, the only square that we can go by rook is these two squares. As you know, we cannot take our own pieces, so we cannot go to these squares. On this board, this rook can go to any of the squares I'm showing with green arrows. For example, in next move, this rook can take this bishop, or it can take this knight. In this position, if we want to go to C7 square, it will take at least two moves. So we can go to C1 and then we can go to C7. Of course, we have another ways, but they will take more moves. For example, we can go to H3 and then F3 and then F7 and finally to C7. But as you can see, they will take four moves. So the easiest way is C1 and then C7. In the same position, if we want to go to D5 square, the easiest way is going to H5 and then going to D5. Of course, we have another way. For example, we can go to C1 and then C5 and finally to D5. But as you can see, it will take three moves. So the easiest way is going to H5 and going to D5. In the same position, if we want to go to H7 and take this pawn, the easiest way is going to C1 and then C7 and finally to H7. So first we can go to C1 and then C7 and finally to H7. In this position, the easiest way to attack to both pieces in the same time is coming to e4 square. So after coming to e4 square, in the same time we can attack both pieces. So in next move we can take any of these two pieces. In this position, if we want to attack to both pawns in the same time, is coming to e6 square. So after coming to e6 square, we can attack both pawns in the same time. So we can come here. So in next move we can take any of these two pawns. In this position, if we want to attack to king, we can come to f7 square, and from here we can attack the king. If we want to attack to bishop, we can come to f1 square, and from here we can attack bishop. In the same position, if we want to attack to both pawns, we can come to f4 square, and from here we can attack to both pawns in the same time. In this position, if we want to take b5 pawns, it will take at least 6 moves. So we can go to h1, and then h6, and then g6, and then g8, and then b8, and finally b5. So we can go to h1, then we can go to h6, and then g6, and then g8, and b8, and finally b5. This is all about rook and how it can move. If you like this video, please subscribe on my channel and share it with your friends. See you in next video.